Hey, it's Katie Moran. Here's your heartfelt lift. Today I'm here with
Kristin Ferguson.
hello, Kristin.
Hi.
I'm so excited for you to be here, and I'd love to hear about this wonderful story you have to share today and what people can take from it to trust themselves more in their own lives.
So I just turned 40, and I do have a history of childhood trauma, um, and I've struggled my entire life with loving myself, knowing that I'm worthy. And so I grew up religious, but kind of ventured away from the whole idea of God. And, whatever you refer to God, you can God, universe, divine source, spirit. Those are all terms that we use, however you connect, what you feel comfortable with. But I started the spiritual awakening, and I took my first international solo trip to Scotland in October of 2022. And something definitely woke up inside me when I was there. Um, but I had a particular experience that I'm going to share that helped me start my self love journey.
I love this so much. So I'd love to just hear about the experience.
So it was actually the day before my 39th birthday. And I was staying in Glasgow, and I was just Googling stuff to do, parks near me. I love castles. I've always been obsessed with castles. So it makes sense that I wanted to go to Scotland. And so this park came up called Mugdock Park. And there wasn't actually a castle there. There was kind of like the remains of it, but it's cool, right? So much history. So on the path to the castle, there's a giant pond. And on the way to the castle, I'd stopped at a particular spot and I'd put my hand in the water and I was like, whoa, it was really cold. I mean, that's October. And I was like, okay, that's enough of that. I'm going to go see the
Mhm.
castle. And I was on my way back, and it was in that pretty much exact spot that I just I didn't audibly hear a voice, but in my head, and just that gentle kind of nudge was like, I heard Kristin, just stop, just wait. And I thought, I was looking out over the water. I mean, there's not a soul out there, right? It's just me and the wildlife. And I'm looking around and I'm like, what for? Like, seriously, what is going on? And then within a couple of minutes, across the way, I see something swimming across the water. And at first, I thought it was kayakers. And I was like, nobody would be out here like that. And then as it started getting closer, I noticed that it was a pair of swans and their two ducklings. And they came over to the bank, and they were just, and I did film this because I just thought it was amazing. And they stood so close to me. And then all the ducks that were on the other side of the pond swam over. And then there were squirrels and chipmunks in the bushes behind me. And there were birds in the tree. And I was like, I feel like Snow White out here. Um, and I guess, and so I had posted about it after I left, and someone on a social media platform, I can't remember where, but they said, animals are so attracted to people that they can trust. I mean, animals, it's like your pure love vibration that they picked up on and they felt safe with you. And the more I thought about that, I just thought, my gosh, it was just so incredible. So I think, or what I believe, is the takeaway from that. And as time goes on and the more I reflect on this experience, the more I draw from it, the more I feel I get more lessons from it. The first thing is to trust your intuition. Your intuition is your direct access to your spirit team. That is God, source, spirit talking to you. And we have to be present to hear it. We can't communicate with spirit in the past or in the future. It is right now. And that's where life is. That's where the magic is. Um, the other lesson is, even when we're being asked to wait, know, trust that is for a reason. Um, that we do fear the unknown because our human brains do that. We have to, our brains want to predict to keep us
Mhm.
safe, to give us the
Mhm.
illusion of being safe, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, but to just know that when you're being asked to wait, to trust that God, source divine, is going to give you exactly what you need in the moment you need it. And that was the start of my self love journey. And on the plane ride home, it was the first time that that voice in my head was ever loving and kind and not critical. And it was just a pivotal moment for me, um, coming from the history that I had.
Mhm.
Um, that's true for anyone, I think, with any kind of trauma, especially in childhood, repeated,
Mhm.
you learn that you're the problem, that because children don't have the benefit of abstract thinking. Everything is quite literal, and so we learn that we're the problem, that we're bad or whatever you hear when you're growing up. um, and that definitely carries over until you find the strength to change it, and it is hard. It has been so hard, but I definitely know now that God is real. um, and we always get what we need exactly when we need it. So,
I love that so much, and specifically how it was kind of like pivotal in your start with the self-love journey, and this idea that nature can just be so accepting. And specifically for anyone with childhood trauma, I think we get that narrative, like you said, kind of like we're bad and it's our fault. And like when we think about that, that's judgment and shame placed on us, and that doesn't
yes,
belong to us. And
right,
so something so healing about nature is that there's no judgment with
right,
nature, and it's just so accepting. And I have a suicide prevention like blog and Discord server, and I did a YouTube video on this and a podcast mini series, and it's reasons not to kill yourself. And one of the reasons is because nature is so accepting, and just thinking about we can live this existence, and that we can feel into being ourselves and authentically ourselves
yes,
without having being judged. And I think for anyone who's carried that on from childhood to their adult life, it can feel so empowering and so healing. And that's what I love so much about your story. And the idea and message behind it is so powerful. And I always encourage people to go into nature and to really just like the way nature doesn't judge us, to see ourselves with that compassion. And when
absolutely,
people place shame on us, to put it back on them because it doesn't belong to us.
right,
And we can have compassion with ourselves, and externally, the people projecting shame, that belongs to them and not us.
yes, yes, yes. And that's the important thing to understand too about childhood trauma, um, is that, like I said, kids don't, they take everything literal. And
Mhm.
so, we don't have the life experiences or the capacity to understand, you know, like my dad was an alcoholic, and whenever he would drink, he was just a monster. And I didn't, obviously, at 3, 4 years old, understand my dad has a problem. My dad has an addiction and he is fighting his own demons. It has nothing to do with me. So I
Mhm.
took that on my entire life. And I did. It's interesting you mentioned about the suicide. And back in 2013, I did plan my death for about 3 months. Um, and obviously, I'm still here.
I'm so grateful for it.
But what you said about nature, that, I mean, it is so true, and it's really important for grounding, to connect with Mother Nature, to connect with our earth. It there's just there's a presence of God that I find in nature, that when your mind is not racing with all the chatter from
Mhm.
society, from social media, the constant need to compare your journey, yourself, everything to everyone else.
Mhm.
You just become one out there. I actually live near a bunch of hiking trails, and there's one particular about a mile up the trail. There's a huge boulder, and I sit on it, and
Mhm.
I just sit there for however long and receive guidance. And
Mhm.
I think it's super important to connect with Mother Nature, to help with the self love and the connection, because when we are truly connected to Source, you can feel that. Those animals came to me not because I have blonde hair, not because I was dressed a particular way, not even because um, I talk a certain way or I am. What I am is inherently what we all are, and that is a gift from God, a gift to this world. We all have a purpose. Um, it is your energy, what you put back out into the world. I want people to know that it doesn't matter. Your past doesn't shape. It has nothing to do with who you can be. That is all changeable. And anything can change in a moment. Absolutely. What I experienced, everything for me changed in a moment.
Mhm.
And so is ever, nothing is ever set for you unless you decide it is.
Mhm.
We have the power to change the course of our lives.
I love that so much. So just for anyone to reiterate that, we have the power to change the course of our lives.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on today, Kristen.
Thank you so much.